All right, so now you got your data exported into Excel. First thing let's do, I would just save this as a temporary file somewhere. So I got to do save as, I guess. All right, and then I want you to delete all the columns except the first column of data. So you don't need, for example, you don't need the longitude and latitude. Qualtrics is a little crazy. So I'm going to delete these columns. And then I'm going to hide the second row. This is the one that has what the actual text was that the participants were responding to. But for most purposes now, you're just going to use the code that you came up with. So I'm going to highlight all these different columns, and I'm going to decrease the width so that it's just a little easier to fit on one screen. And the way I did that was you can highlight all the different columns, and then if you move it wider or move it smaller, it affects all the columns. Then I want you to center them all. So come in and hit the center button. Go up here and take the variable names and put them in bold so they stand out a little better. And then before column A, I want you to insert another column. So what you can do is just right click on column A, hit insert, and then that column pops in there. And then I think this will make it easier when we work on this later, but if you save this as, but come in here and put some colors on the different columns that break them into the 4 different facets that we were working with, it might be a little easier for you to see what's going on. All right, and then you can you're going to come down here and create formulas for the mean and standard deviation. So you're going to do that for all the columns, but we'll start here with this first one, and I'll show you there's 2 different ways you can do formulas. One, if you hit formula, insert function, and then up here you can say average, and it'll select what it thinks you want, and then you can start working with that. So it's saying, hey, what ones do you want to get the average of? Well, if you hit this little button, that lets you go to the screen, and then you can drag over the exact range that you want. And then when you hit enter, it takes you back to this screen, and then you hit OK, and boom, you're done. And you can check that if you highlight this range and come down here, you can see that the average of 2.7 fits, and that you had 10 a count of n, which is correct. So, and then if I double click on that mean, it shows me the range that it's basing the average on. Okay, then once you get better at this, you can just start typing. So standard deviation, we want .s. That assumes we're working with the sample rather than the population. That's generally the safer one to select. But then I go left paren. So parentheses are the things that put something in parentheses. If you have just one of those, it's called a paren. So I put that there, and then it says, okay, which numbers do you want to get the standard deviation of? Well, I can come up here with my mouse, just highlight that range, B3 through B12, and then I hit enter, and it finishes the formula, and it uses that range. And like before, remember, if I click on it, it can show me the range it's getting standard deviation over. Okay, and then the last thing I need to do is drag this all the way across, and that'll copy and paste this formula all the way across. So if I just put the mouse, drag the mouse over these 2 things, So they're highlighted. Then I go to this bottom corner, and if I hold the left key down and I drag over, it will figure out that it'll copy that formula all the way across. Then one last thing, I don't think I have it on the list, but if you want to format the decimals and put them all at 2 decimal places, you can adjust that here just so it looks a little more consistent. All right, that is it for what you're doing in Excel. And do save this. We might do something else with this later, so make sure wherever you save this file, you know where it is and can find it again later. Okay, thanks.